British MP Robert Jenrick made this statement during the Leadership Dialogue Institute's 2021 online conference on pandemic management, anti-Semitism and Israeli technology. Now, that organisation calls itself a private diplomatic channel, fostering closer cultural ties between Australia, the UK and Israel. Mr. Jenrick, who used to be the UK's Secretary of State for Housing, Communities and Local Government, was speaking there, and he was speaking in a session called Why Do So Many People Hate Jews? So obviously on that matter, he obviously took on BDS, and he said that in the coming months, the government will be working to outlaw BDS in the UK, and that he thinks that BDS is being beaten back here already. He said there is no political party in the UK that would support BDS today, and it's becoming much more of a fringe activity, and added that he wants that new legislation to be as broad as possible, so there's next to no avenue that BDS could continue. A spokesman today speaking to me from the Department for Levelling Up Housing and Communities, as it's now called, told me the UK government has made its position on boycotts clear. We do not hesitate to express our disagreement with foreign nations whenever we feel it necessary, but we are firmly opposed to local boycotts which can damage integration and community cohesion, hinder exports and harm foreign relations and the UK's economic and international security. And they go on to say that the government remains committed to the manifesto pledge to ban public bodies from imposing their own boycotts, divestment or sanction campaigns, and will legislate as soon as parliamentary time allows to that end. So that gives us a clue perhaps as to what kind of law he's talking about as well. It will be something to restrict local governments, local councils from engaging in foreign policies of their own in contravention of the government's and the state's foreign policy.
Now, Jonathan, in the U.S., even there are those that who are against the BDS movement, but say we don't want to actually legislate laws that could restrict. It's put in the U.S. terms, for example, free speech, and saying they're supporting. So, how realistic is it that such a law could pass in any form in the British Parliament, for example?
Well, I don't think this will be a matter of freedom of speech, because certainly there won't be any law, I imagine, to prohibit people from saying what they think about Israel, even from individuals engaging in their own kind of boycotts, maybe individuals who don't want to buy Israeli goods in shops. But what I think this is aimed at is stopping local councils and local government from engaging in activity that really could create discriminatory effects in that area. So they won't be allowed to divest from Israel or companies with Israeli involvement, because that would be in contravention of what the government may think. And they said in that statement that I read you just a moment ago, of course, that the government reserves the right to say when it disagrees with policies of foreign nations, especially allies. So I think that they won't be holding back where they do think that there's something that needs to be said, even to a close ally like Israel, but they will be legislating instead to stop anyone undermining the foreign policy of Britain.